I love QM2, and on this trip, just staring at Norway was enough to keep me entertained. But not everyone is as easy to please as I am, so if you want to know how entertaining the entertainment is, you have come to the right place. Here, ladies and gentlemen, we go. The Royal Court Theatre does the heavy lifting. It's a big old theatre holding 1,100 guests, almost half the ship's capacity. It's not a patch on QV's theatre to look at, but it's roomy and there are wee tables to hold your flaming sambuca. It isn't the best designed. There are pillars and sight lines all over the place, and the seats in front of the tech box curve awkwardly away from the stage. The stage sticks out into the room rather than being window style like most theatres though, so that's fun. On 2 of the 7 nights I spent on board, the show was Maria King, piano woman. One man or woman on stage should almost never be the show. But if you've sailed on Cunard, then you'll know that is their shtick. She looks a bit like Lorraine Chase, and there is some novelty value to be had from a woman in a ball gown walking onto a Cunard stage and talking with a broad northern working class voice. Again, a bit Lorraine Chase-ish. She seemed like a pleasant enough lady when she did bits of chit-chat, but a woman sat playing piano, mostly without any lyrics, with sound that was too quiet, just didn't do it for me. I was chatting to a couple who know about piano, and apparently Maria is, technically speaking, a brilliant pianist. But in a theatre, I want to be entertained, not dazzled with proficiency in something that I'm not that engaged with. I'd like to rate it higher because she did seem nice, but it's a 4 out of 10. The first of 3 ship's company shows was next, Rhythm of the Night. And the full cast appeared on stage for the first time. The whole room must have been thinking the same thing. Generally, a ship's company will be a dozen-ish people, 2 girls who are banging singers, 2 boys that are good singers, and 8 or 10 dancers that can hold a tune. There was one person on stage that immediately drew the eye, and I was thinking, no, surely they aren't going to make that guy dance. It was literally impossible that he was a dancer. In fact, if you showed someone a photo and said, guess what this guy does for a living, 9 out of 10 people would probably take darts player. Anyway, not only is the big guy a dancer, he is a brilliant dancer. Probably the best of the lot. Good for you, BFD. Honestly, good for us. He was awesome. The rest of the show is pretty dull. Run-of-the-mill song and dance show. Worth a watch, but not likely to change anyone's life. But after BFD, there was also another standout segment. About 13 minutes in, the backdrop goes black, a spotlight falls on the tall blonde singer, and she bashes out an operatic piece that is so fantastic I could feel my eyes welling up. And I really felt like I was witnessing something special. That bit gives way to more of the Bogo cruise show stuff, and all in all, well, it's something to point your eyes and ears at after dinner. Most of the show, 5 out of 10. Operatic bit, 9 out of 10. Javie Jarquin, Card Ninja. Another one-man on stage show, but this time it worked for me much better than usual. I've seen Javie plenty of times in real life doing stand-up comedy, but this was the first time I've seen his gambit routine. It wouldn't hurt to tart the stage up a bit, give him a decent backdrop or whatever, but he doesn't stop talking for more than half a second at a time, and he moves about enough to make the stage feel full. Undoubtedly, what is quite an old-fashioned show, The type of thing that would get a 5-minute spot on a Saturday night show presented by Anton Deck is elevated massively by him just being a charismatic dude. But it doesn't matter how we get there, it just matters that we do. And this show was really fun. It dipped for me a bit when Javier needed a volunteer and Wacky Lawrence with personality shirt was brought on stage. And then endlessly piped up from the front row. But we can't blame the card ninja for that. 8 out of 10. The ship's company were back on night 4 with Let's Dance. I will not beat around the bush, this show was an absolute banger. It moves fast, the costumes change a million times. You know, don't waste money on even half decent staging. But at least the screen backdrop did keep changing, and BFD amazed everyone even more by not only being a brilliant dancer, but also an absolutely incredible acrobat. You couldn't have this cast doing this show on a regular ship. Not with Phil the Power Taylor doing backflips, but QM2 is super stable. I've seen this show before, but not this cast. If I knew about dancing or gymnastics, then maybe I could be a bit more critical, but I couldn't have been any more entertained. 10 out of 10. After Let's Dance, the only way was down, which Cunard really leaned into with the next booking. I almost didn't go to see Straight Circles, a band doing 50s music with the very occasional song from 1961. I already knew that it wasn't for me, but I was in a happy mood as I passed the theatre and I thought, how bad can it be? 5 minutes in, they'd shown me how bad it could be, and I left. Unfair to rate it, but look at it this way. 1950 was 76 years ago, so for this to be the music of your youth, you've got to be 90 or older. Which, to be fair, a lot of Cunard guests are. About a third of the ship's company were back for the final theatre show of this trip with songs of Motown. I was hijacked by my table mate, so I ended up in a rubbish seat for this one. But there wasn't much to see, it was all about the singing. The 2 female singers are fluffing great. The tall blonde girl was the standout in Rhythm of the Night, but the dark-haired girl was the star of the show this time. I can only assume that the 2 male singers have got dirt on the people who booked the performers. But this was a good show and I did enjoy it. Obviously, it would have been elevated with a cameo from BFD, but he was sat watching a few rows in front, so at least I got to see him. 8 out of 10. The daytime shows in Royal Court are a bit more sedate. Michael Durant, classical guitarist, did matinees on 2 or 3 of the days. Again, if you know about guitar, then I suspect that there was technical excellence on show. If you're a normal human man, well, guitars are not violins, are they? The only other daytime show I saw in here was In Conversation with Inge Solheim, a Norwegian explorer. I missed his first show, but this guy does mad expeditions, is all the backstory you need to get the gist. It was largely a Q&A, although the A's often rambled off exploring on their own, with very little relevance to the Q's. It didn't matter, because the guy was interesting to listen to, and his thick accent and abrupt speech forced you to concentrate. Good way to spend an hour. 8 out of 10. QM2 doesn't have a bright light society, yet, so the number 2 Ents venue is a toss-up between Illuminations and Queen's Room. I'm doing Illuminations first because it's the closest. Now, do not let anyone tell you that this is a planetarium. This is where a planetarium used to be, with the very occasional pop-up planetarium show once in every great long while, when the fluffing thing is actually working. What it really is is a very, very nice looking cinema / smaller theatre where movies / smaller shows and insight talks take place. I saw the Card Ninja becoming plain old Javier Jarquin with a normal stand-up comedy show. In the real world, Javier is a comedian. A proper one, not a cruise ship comedian. And I was looking forward to watching this show. To prove that everyone on board loved watching him throw playing cards at a watermelon, Illuminations Not Planetarium was rammed. Every seat had a bum in it, including the sofas at the back where you can't even see the stage. There were people standing in the aisles, leaning against the railings, propping their dodgy hip against the wall. If we were on land, the fire officer would have closed us down. About 5 minutes in, I was really getting the fear. Javier is new to ships, but you wouldn't have known because he was really leaning into being a ship comedian. Fortunately, after 10 minutes or so, he went back to being proper. I loved it. More people than can safely fit into Illuminations loved it, and hopefully Cunard will take notice and start booking more proper and fewer ship comedians. A high 8 out of 10. Listen, this is important. If you are on a Cunard ship and there is a proper comedian, go and see them and tell Cunard if they're great. Otherwise, you get what the poor people 2 cruises later got. Kev fluffing Orkian. Cunard has a program of daytime lectures called Insight Talks. It's really varied, and I've seen prison wardens and plastic surgeons, Heather Small from M People and Dorian from Birds of a Feather. Often it's been something that I wasn't really interested in but had nothing better to do, and it's been an interesting way to kill an hour on a sea day. I was in Illuminations for a talk on celebrities in the media. A very serious looking old dude shuffled up to the lectern, declared that the daily programme was wrong and that he would be telling us about Winston Churchill. I was a bit cheeky but also deadly serious about this talk in the main review, so I won't slam it twice, but rest assured this was not for me. I didn't watch a movie in here this time, but I have plenty of times in the past, and it is a really good cinema. Movie dependent, obvs. If you want to see a planetarium show, get yourself to Madame Tussauds. The Queen's Room is Cunard famous. Ballroom dancing with various bands. Sometimes they just stick Spotify on, and the bewildering cocktails with the officer type stuff is in here too. These are popular. I don't know why. I'm not a dancer, but I do like to sit and watch now and then. It's fun deciding who the heroes and villains are and which ones are your favourites, which ones you hope trip over and fall flat on their face. 10 times out of 10, when the music ends and they all go and sit down, before immediately getting back up again for the next dance, I do a little giggle. I'm all for pointless traditions, but it still amuses me that they don't just wait for 10 seconds to decide if they're going to dance to the next beat or not. Beyond that, you'll find afternoon tea here, but that obviously belongs in the dining review. The last night of this trip was way busy. I literally could not get a seat. It doesn't really get used for shows the way that Anne's Queen's Room does, so it's just a question of do you like it or don't you? If a day out at Warwick Castle does it for you, call on in here and grab a seat. But if you can't think of anything more boring, well, it's weird that you are this deep into any Cunard YouTube video. I blinking love Warwick Castle, don't I? All the usual background entertainment is there. Singers and musicians in the Commodore Club, the Chart Room, the Golden Lion. Noisy and silent discos in G32, you know the drill. What I will say is that Chart Room is not the right place for a strings trio. Just look at these animals wandering past as if something brilliant isn't happening. This is performance that deserves your attention. Daytime in the theatre or Illuminations would probably be best, or at least the not smoky side of Commodore Club where people are pretending to be civilised. Quizzes and bingo and games of bago, albeit rigged, are all present and accounted for too. The lineup on QM2 is probably more the Daniel Dubois, "Are you not entertained?" than the Russell Crowe version, and it ain't keeping up with Queen Anne just now. But if you aren't into crystal staircases and Cunard is a realistic option for you, well, stay clear of Winston Churchill and you will have a grand old time. Entertainment on QM2 done.